One who will hold you down. Those that think that they've got somebody, some have ended up being super disappointed. And that is the story of a lady who is currently in a dilemma. We started the story last week. For those of you who couldn't watch Let's Talk Relationship last week, we will project the letter again so we can find out exactly what the problem is. But just to recap, last week it was so amazing. A lady who has been married for 2 years, and 2 years into the marriage, her husband comes home with a child outside of the marriage. Well, the story is on here, so let me just read it. Dear Esiedua, please keep me anonymous. I've been married to my husband for almost 2 years. Recently, he brought home a child, claiming it's his from an affair he's been having. This has come as a huge shock because, as far as I'm concerned, our marriage has been great. There were no signs of cheating. He's always been a wonderful husband, caring and attentive. What scares me the most is that he was able to keep up this perfect image while leading a secret life. If he can pretend so well, what does that mean for our future? We dated for a year before getting married, and he literally begged me to be his wife. I'm completely blindsided by this revelation. We haven't even really discussed having children yet. We were just enjoying our time together. He's never expressed a desire for a child right now, so I'm struggling to understand how this could have happened. Now I'm at a crossroad. Should I forgive him and stay, or should I leave this marriage? What should I do? So that is our anonymous letter, and we started last week. Last week we had Prophet Moses Benisan, and then we have Reverend Juliet Botre, who were here and gave interesting and wonderful submissions. But today, our guests are different. Our male guest, we had missed him on Let's Talk Relationships so much, and so we are super ecstatic that he's here again with us this morning. I always say this thing that anytime I have a lady and a gentleman guest, I always have to do the ladies first. So you let me just skip and do the ladies first, okay? Selassie Doku, she's no stranger to us at all. She's a strategist. She is the CEO of Met Focus International, founder 360 Institute. Okay. And yes, she's a counselor as well, and we are always very excited seeing her. You've seen our male guest already, haven't you? Yes, Pastor Michael McCann is here with us this morning from Emmanuel International Christian Center, and we are happy that he's back with us. Hi.
Happy to be here.
Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're doing really well.
Sweet. So last week we started a conversation. We had a lot of messages. So I want us to pick some of the messages from last week, just to be fair, and then we'll get rolling into the conversation. What you have to, the advice that you have to give this lady and anybody who could be going through that. So Philip Mensa says, leave, oh. Be very quick. Why are you keeping long? I said leave, oh. You're still there. I told you to leave. If I come there and meet you, leave. Ooh, that's intense. Okay. Kelly Ofori says, accept the innocent child and make peace with your husband, and all other things shall be added. Okay. Samuel Kanan says, that is why I always tell myself that I must know everything about my partner before I move to the altar and say I do. My dear, stay with the child and take care as your own. There is more blessings from God if you do that. My caution to us all is try to know at least 95% of each other before you say I do at the altar. Okay. Richard says, if you don't have a child with a man, you can leave and start all over if you can. If you have a child with a man, you can add the man's own and keep your home. It's funny how it looks like a majority of the comments I've read so far, they are all telling the lady to keep their child. So meaning you're saying she should stay in the marriage and make it work. But one of the comments said that you have to know your partner about 95% before you agree to go to the altar with them or marry them. But the question here is, how well or how far can you know somebody to know that you're ready to do life with this person? I want to start with you, Selassie.
Hi. So, I mean, how well do you have to know your partner?
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of things. It depends on what your interest is, what you're looking out for. It depends on quite a number of all of these things. Do you have values together? What are your dreams together? What are your visions together? In the conversation, in the friendship stage, you get to know a lot more about the person.
Okay.
And, sometimes we tend to be blinded by he loves me, she loves me, and we are okay. And so we can just go ahead and marry. But then we don't get to know the people that we are getting into this lifelong commitment with.
Okay.
And so it's important that as an individual, you even know yourself first.
Yeah.
Who are you? What can you take? What can you do? What do you expect out of life?
Right.
And then with that, you are grounded to be able to say that, who is this person that I'm ready to go into this lifelong journey with? You need to know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This lady is experiencing a lot of things, and I think when we get to that, we'll talk about. I mean, it's a crisis situation, and we need to look at how she's going to, maneuver through these crises to be able to come to the point where she has to make a decision anyway.
The right one.
Exactly.
The right one. Okay, so viewers, we are waiting your messages, your questions. What are some of the suggestions that you would love to give? There's a lady who is currently in a dilemma. Send it to our WhatsApp number. The number is 055-157-5757. Or you can go to our Facebook page. It is Joy Prime TV. Get into the comment section and send in your messages. Dr. McCann, Pastor McCann, hey, I'm seeing you as a doctor, so I'm seeing you to the spiritual room. Anyways,
I'm usually a counselor, but Pastor, counselor.
Yes.
Sure.
So what would you say in contributing to how well you can know someone before you say I do?
A lot of conversation.
A lot of conversation.
About the past. And then the present, and then the future. So that you can try to get a feel of the person's core values. What is their belief system? And then get close to some of their friends. Because if I meet your friends, I will know who you are.
Who you are.
Yeah, so you have to be a bit of a detective for yourself and for your own well-being. If you're going to buy a piece of land, you ask in the neighborhood, you do your due diligence, you check, and you make sure it's registered. So there are many checks we can do. And we can also have other people on board to help with the checks. So we have counselors, we have pastors, we have family members. If you're going to be with someone for the rest of your life, I'd do as many checks as possible.
Investigator.
Just because when you go into marriage, somebody's weakness, sometimes they don't even know the full extent of it. And you'll have to discover it. Yeah, so that's why you have to do so many checks beforehand.
Oh, that's really deep. That a lot of the times you're even unaware of what your weakness could be. So it would take somebody for it to come out.
To point it out to you. This is something that keeps reoccurring, and how are you aware of it? How do you even understand what is going on? Because sometimes people show certain, they show certain characters, and they are not even aware that they are exhibiting those characters. And so it takes somebody, an onlooker, or somebody who is with you all the time, to be able to tell you or be able to pinpoint out these characters to you, so that and then it becomes, so when, at that point, it becomes, well, okay, I'm aware of it, do I accept it? I mean, it comes, all of this come into the decision making. You're able to make a decision as to, is this person able to accept their mistakes and be able to say, I'm wrong in this way? You can make a lot of decisions based on how somebody even accepts who they are. Do they even know themselves that well? And then decisions can be made on them, because if the person is not well-centered and doesn't really know who they are themselves, how are they going to be in a relationship with you for the long haul?
Okay, so still staying on how well you can know somebody, this lady, this states in the letter that her husband did so well by giving off a perfect looking, sort of like happy relationship or marriage. So he did very well hiding his affair that he was having. So she didn't know anything about it until he came himself to confess and say there's even a baby. And so this is it. this is somebody that she said that they dated for 1 year before they got married. And then in the marriage, this man has been doing everything and anything to conceal all the dirty works, everything that he's doing. And so what you are getting, you are accepting that. How can I tell that my husband could possibly be doing something fishy? So maybe I have to be on the lookout because I wouldn't know. Just as in the case of this lady.
Yes.
The husband hid it well.
So now she's going to live her life in a different way.
How?
Because she's experienced something she's never experienced before. So, for instance, she may have never had entry into his phone. But now this has happened, she has the right to bring it into the house that I'm going to have access to your phone now because of what has happened. She's allowed to add new rules into her home to safeguard her in the relationship because trust has been broken. So now everything has changed. The old marriage has died and now there's a new one that's going to be formed if she continues. Because you were living by certain rules, it hasn't worked. So now you're going to have to introduce new rules. If he disappears at the weekend, you'll be disappearing with him. So you will create a new strategy for your home and for your family to protect it. If he's willing to comply with your new rules and regulations for how the setup of the home is going to be, you will then feel more safe to continue the journey with him. If he starts kicking up and making a fuss about what you want to implement, then it's going to have to give you warning signs that this could possibly happen again if he's not going to agree.
Just leave?
So I'd introduce a counsellor, I'd introduce a pastor, I'd introduce a family member, and I'd get as many people on board as possible, take their opinion, so that he's accountable, not just to you, but others around you that you look up to. If he can take on board that he needs to bring in changes, then that's halfway to healing, because he's got a sickness.
So would you say that in this lady's situation, she shouldn't be in a rush to say, I'm leaving the relationship? She should try and make it work first by speaking with people that her husband can be accountable to.
If she was going to leave, we wouldn't be having this conversation now.
So she herself has...
Some people would have stepped out and not even allowed this conversation to happen.
Right.
At the news of there's a child, there's been an affair, we haven't even had a child, it's ended. But I believe she wants to try and make it work. If not, she wouldn't be reaching out for help, because to me, her comment or the statement she has made is she's looking for information, she's looking for help, she's looking for knowledge as to what to do. Some people would not be doing that. So he's a fortunate man.
So I want to look at it from an angle where it's a crisis situation. And this crisis situation, I mean, there's a sudden event that has destabilized her home, her emotions and everything, and she will want to, she's crying out for help. And so first of all, she would need to seek counseling. She would need to seek help where all the processes will be gone through. Probably even couples therapy would come in. Okay, she would need to do that. And then with the emotions that have been, with the crisis situation, look, there's an urgency to make a decision. That's why she's calling out for help. So she's still not, she doesn't know what she wants to do. She's crying out, what is the next thing to do? So her emotions, she's experiencing all the emotional...
all over.
The emotional overload and everything, and she's not stable right now. So she needs to be stabilized, and so she needs help. She needs counselors. She needs help to stabilize her emotions, get in tune with what is going on. And then, before she gets to where she needs to know whether I'm leaving or, staying.
So how does she stabilize her emotions?
So she needs help. To stabilize your emotions, you need professional help.
So that is seek
help.
Either your pastor, counselor. Somebody who can help you stabilize that emotion, be able to center yourself and know what you're dealing with. Okay, you need to know that at this point, this is urgent. She's feeling a lot of emotional overload. All the thoughts are rushing through her head. She's experiencing the future, she's unable to know what the future holds for her. There's a child, they haven't even talked about it. Having children. And that is one of the cardinal things that you would talk about at the very onset of relationship, even trying to get into marriage. So if they haven't had that, it tells me a lot, as Pastor said, the past. What happened in the past? Were they able to, talk about a lot of issues? Or she was just living in the fancy world,
let's have the wedding, let's have the pictures, and let's have the video. But she will need to stabilize her emotion right now before she gets to the point where she needs to make a decision whether to leave or not to leave or to stay, you know. So she needs to do that. And after that, probably when all of that is said, there are a few things that we'll have to, you know, take her through to be able to know that, okay, what are my values? What are my desires? What do I really want? Can I cope with this? Before anything else, at this point, she's still in the haze. She's still in the haze. And so I would say that she should seek for professional help at this point, yes.
Pastor McCann, in a situation where maybe, let's just assume that maybe they had the talks of having children before the marriage, and then the man wanted a child or wanted to start having children, maybe right after marriage, but she wasn't ready. Maybe she wanted to pursue education, she wanted to do something else and all of that. In a situation like that where now, now we are married, and then you find out that you were not ready to have a child, but your husband was ready and he consented to it and you got married. But then now he's wanting a child from outside of the marriage. So before that, having such a conversation, should you even easily say that, okay, if you don't want to have a child and I want to have a child, okay, fine, let's do it. But it may be in your heart, you really want to. How should you decide something like that when your partner is not in the same line as you?
So you're saying that he wants a child and
so
she
maybe
doesn't.
He wanted the child.
But she didn't really want the child.
But she didn't want the child, and then now they are married. And so that's how come they are not having any conversations about having children again, because the man knows that my wife doesn't want a child, so I'm not going to bother her or anything like that. But then before the marriage, you have no choice than to consent to what your wife or your wife-to-be is saying, that she doesn't want to have children. But you really want to. How do you handle such a situation?
I mean, this is something that you would need to resolve before you get married.
No matter what?
Really, yes, because if she's someone that wants to pursue education, if she's someone that wants to pursue a career, and that's her reasoning, that will be the foundation of why she wouldn't want to have a child. So two cannot walk together unless they agree.
That's true.
So you've got to be able to make your agreements. Having a child is an important agreement that you've got to make. If you really want to change your mind midway, then there's going to have to be lots of conversation. You're going to have to keep going. So how are we going to make it work? Because if I'm going to have a profession or I'm going to continue my education, how am I going to do that in the midst of having a child? The man is going to have to let her know how he's going to make it work with her, how he's going to support her. He can't leave her to it. My wife had a child in the midst of education and work, but I came on board to support. So if you're going to do a teamwork and you're going to be willing to let her know that I will support you, I'll be with you. There's ways of doing things online. It's possible to do online studies. But if you're pregnant, it makes things much more difficult. So if he's going to be able to give her so many reasons as to...
And that assurance.
That assurance that I'm with you, I understand you, but I have a deep need and a want to have a child. If both of you can meet in the middle together, that you can do this together, then it's possible. You can make it work. I've got 6 boys. We make a lot of things work that shouldn't work. But we do it because we work together. Like a lot of people look and say, how do you do this? It's just because the two of us decided to make it work. My wife's currently studying with the 6 boys. So by 6 p.m. she goes to online studying. So sometimes I have to feed a child. Sometimes I have to bath a child. It's a team work. So if the man can have the understanding that he's going to have to make sacrifices to have what he wants, then it's possible.
Then I said, well, I mean, some of these decisions can be deal breakers. Because at a point, I mean, if you haven't gotten married already and you are in the process of making a decision as to whether you want children, you don't want children, and as Pastor Daniel was talking about, if you haven't been able to come to that conversation, or Pastor Michael, sorry, make that conversation as to, okay, I don't want children now, or I don't want children at all, or all of that conversation. So if you really love this woman and she's saying, I don't want children. I want to keep my Fanta or Coca-Cola bottle shape and all of that. I don't want children. And it means that your values and your are not
in line.
They're not in line. And that's a deal breaker right there. But you know, sometimes we make the mistake of saying, oh, I can change her mind. Once we get married, I can change her mind. Marriage doesn't change people. You know, when you get married, I mean, if anything at all, it brings the worst out of people.
It brings out more of your character.
More of who you are, because now you're comfortable in the union. You think that, oh, now I have her, I have him, so this is it. So if that conversation had really actually gone on, I mean, they've had that conversation before the marriage, the man says,
like
okay.
Pastor Michael said, it had been dealt with before the marriage.
So this child shows up.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you don't want to have children, this is my plan. So that would have been selfish on the man's part. And not involve the woman and say, if you don't want to have children, this is my plan. If the woman says, well, it's a good plan, let's go ahead with it.
Yeah.
That is that is an agreement right there. But if she says, look, I will want to have children, but maybe after my education or whilst I'm pregnant, can we work something out? Can we support each other? And a lot of couples do that. Yeah. You know, they support each other through the transitions of, you know, the faces of the lives of the individuals, either the husband or the... And we do that. So it's about communication.
Communication. Yeah.
It's about communication.
Yeah.
What were the communications that what were the telltale signs that were there? That was like, you could be communicating with someone and you can tell that this person is not really accepting of what the outcomes of this communication, the feedback you're getting. But as she said, she was blinded by probably love, you know, and... all of that. So for all you know, these signs were there. Yeah.
But she decided not to pay
attention. The red flags were all over.
Yeah.
And even as we speak, even through the marriage for the 2 years, for all you know, for her, she didn't know, but they were there. Because, oh, that's my husband, I mean, I know. And they were there, but she didn't see them. Now she's deciding what to do. Do I leave? I'm in a dilemma. Do I leave? Do I stay? She will have to go through a lot more for her own well-being. Yeah. For her own well-being, so that whatever decision that she makes or she takes would be a well-informed decision. Okay, if we sit here and say, okay, leave or stay, we might not be doing her any good. We might not actually, we might put her in a position where probably she wants to stay, but she would want to work through things. What are some of the things that they can work through? Exactly. Okay. Or if she wants to leave, even for the exit, she needs to process it. Yeah. She just can't get up and say, I'm leaving. She needs to process it. She needs to, we need to know what the exit plan is. How is all of this going to end up so that her sanity is preserved.
So her emotions need to be stabilized, first of all. Once her emotions are stabilized, she'll be able to make an informed decision as to what's best for her in this moment.
Right. All right, Pastor McCann, I'll come back to you. So we have, I want to take about 2 messages and then we'll continue the conversation. So viewers, keep sending in your messages. I'll do my very best to read them whilst the conversation is ongoing. You can send your messages to our WhatsApp number, 055-157-5757. You can go to our Facebook page, that is Joy Prime TV, and get into the comment section and just send in your messages. So let me just read about 2 and then Pastor McCann can continue with what he was saying. So if you can have the messages. Can we please have the messages, okay? All right. So this one says, you are lucky he's brought the child home. It means he's been bounced. He's been bounced there. It's very painful, I must say. We forgave one earlier. Before I realized he has another. Okay, so I forgave one earlier. Before I realized he has another one with the same person who is 10 years plus and was still not ready to disclose. What? Okay. Hi, Esiodua. This is sad, oh. Like, seriously, like, how did she take it at first? I hope it could be a prank or a dream for the lady to wake up from it. I swear, if you don't fear 99% of men, you will die untimely. Oh, that's funny. Hi, Esiodua. Good morning. I'm going through the same thing. We have 3 kids in 3 years. And my husband is having a child with his side chick who is older than our last born. And he wants to marry her. Oh, I am going through a lot right now. I nearly went mad. Oh. What? Wait, he wants to marry, so he's still going to be married to you, but then would marry his side chick in addition to you. So he then has 2 wives, or he wants to divorce you and then marry his side chick. Can you please elaborate on that so that we can see how best to help you in this situation? Ooh, this is intense. This is intense. Pastor McCann, you were making a submission earlier.
Yes, I was talking about her stabilizing her emotions.
Yes.
So it's normal to do a lot of crying during this time because her heart has been broken.
Yeah.
She should let it all out. She should let the pain out. It's normal to experience anger. It's normal to want to be by yourself, to be alone. It's normal to want to listen to worship and to be more prayerful during these times and to be seeking God's face to strengthen you. So she has to let her emotions not overtake her in a negative way as to go and hurt somebody. Because emotions can be good and bad.
Yeah.
But she must allow her emotions to come out, and she might feel like crying every morning. I'd allow her. Because she was never expecting this.
Yeah.
I put an affair in this sort of statement. If someone's coming to die or suddenly dies, it's ahead of you. If you're getting married, it's ahead of you. A lot of things that happen to us are ahead of us. If somebody's sick, it's kind of it's happening, but it's ahead of you. But with an affair, it's something you have to deal with that's behind you.
Behind you.
And it's something that was secret. It's something that you've been denied information about. And it's something that you have a lot of memories of that now they're all tainted. Because you can't tell what is truth and what is not truth. And it puts you in a really bad state of confusion. It puts you in a state of, you question your own self. You can look at your own value. You can look at, what did I do wrong? And it brings so many questions, and it can destabilize your thinking a lot. So she needs to pour out the emotions, because if you've been in a car crash, you understand, look, I've been in a car crash, you're in a state of shock. But what happens with an affair, it's like you've been in a car crash, but you weren't aware. And you're now waking up to the fact that you've been in a car crash, and look how horrific it is. I'm not saying a physical car crash, but a mental one, an emotional one. You're in a state of shock. And because it happened in your past, the amount of questions that are going on, she will need to have a very long talk with him. Not just once, not just twice, but until she can get as many answers out of him about what has gone on, why has it gone on, and then where's the root of this behavior coming from. If she can't do that, she has to be able to take it to the counselors for assistance to get to the root of these behaviors. Because a lot of these behaviors come from childhood, they come from what you've seen in the home, in the family, in the community. And a lot of the time, when these things happen, they will keep happening. And that's what the messages are showing us, that they keep repeating these things. It's easy to say sorry. It's easy to say, I didn't mean to do this. It's easy to say that I love you, I still want to be with you. But it's also very easy to repeat what you've done.
But I wonder if, you know, okay, like one of the messages, one of them said that, yes, she forgave her husband, and then now her husband has done it again. And this child is even older than their last born. They have 3 kids. So it's something that you can tell that maybe with that particular situation, she hasn't really sat down to deal with it with her husband.
I mean, they might have talked of, okay, so there are 2 people involved here. There are 2 personalities involved here. There are 2 personality traits involved here. She might have done all the talking, but who are we dealing with? What is the personality traits that we are dealing with? How does he even understand the marriage, marriage in itself? What is his idea of marriage?
Because this can be his normal.
It could be his normal. It could be something that he's been seeing. I mean, it's normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
And for you, that's why our values, at the friendship stage, you have to listen to your partner.
Pay attention.
Pay attention. So in counseling, we tell you, when you come for premarital counseling, at the point when the questions and all the exploring is being done, we ask you to pay attention to what is being said. It tells you a lot. It helps you to make decisions. So there's a lot that goes on that we always turn a blind eye to. There are lots of the red flags that we're like, oh, it's a change. We are in love right now. All of that. We overlook all of those things. Okay, as Pastor Max said, this lady has had an accident. It's trauma. What she's going through, I mean, it's crisis which is going to, turn into a traumatic situation. Betrayal trauma. She's been betrayed. Okay, her trust has been broken. And all of these things will bring cognitive dissonance. This is one man who you saw as lovey-dovey, trustworthy, was doing everything. And then you have to deal with a child and infidelity. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance that is going on. And this woman will have to seek help, to be able
then
to readjust.
Like now she's recalculating or looking back at, okay, so all those times that even before the marriage where he was begging me to marry him and everything, it was all a lie.
What was all that about?
What was all that about?
How do I work with all of this? At one part, I see a lovely man who loved me and everything, and at another point, I see a man who's brought a child home from another relationship. Her psyche, all of that is going on. Her cognition, to be able to put it together, they're conflicting.
All over the place.
They're conflicting right now.
It's a really difficult thing to do, and to maneuver through, and that's why we keep saying you need counselling.
Yes,
you need a pastor that doesn't have that's not going to take someone's side, but is going to do it from a neutral position. So she needs to reach out for knowledge on YouTube, on the internet. She needs to now learn about this topic that she knew nothing about.
Oh, my goodness. That's a lot. Okay, let me take this message now. This says, the sad thing is women are not allowed to do same. Most of the times, I really do blame society for such happenings because they have energized men and normalizing things for them. I feel your pain, sis. Do take heart. Fatima from BBN. Fatima, thank you so much for your message. Okay. All right, so Selassie, Pastor McCann, thank you so much for your time this morning. I want you to give us your final submission on this topic. We're about to draw. So viewers, we're about to take our last draw for this morning on Quick Cash, okay? Dial *281# right now. Choose option number 7, and you can play with as much as you can afford. A ticket is 5 Ghana cedis. So you can do 2, you can do 4 tickets, you know. Play, because we're about to draw again. We already have our first winner for the day. It could be you next. So pick up your phone. *281# and play. All right, Pastor McCann.
Yeah, people that have passed through these situations have come out stronger and their marriages are still standing. It is possible, and the man or the woman, and both of them have been healed. Sometimes it can be the women as well.
Yes.
So it's not just the men, it happens both ways. So it's possible to get out and to work it out and to become better individuals for each other and for your family. Some do break down. But we want to encourage all of you, if you want to try, it is possible. And we want to speak hope to you, that you can work it out. But take it to the professionals and let them stand with you.
All right.
So the good book says that there's nothing new under the sun. This has happened. It has happened to other people. It has happened to you. It is how you understand and come to terms with it and the decisions that you make after that, that works out for you. Because if you don't take the time to seek for help, then it becomes like a scar that is never healed. So it's there, the wound is there.
Even
and
if
the
you
slightest,
leave, it will still be there.
Exactly, the slightest thing that happens to you, it goes to erupt it. And so you need to get proper healing. You need to go through the processes, seek help, and get proper healing so that your next relationship can be better, so that you don't displace on the other person.
Wonderful submissions right there on this topic. I mean, it was a letter that we received where this lady is in a dilemma. And we hope that all that has been said last week and today, she gets something from it. But then what I would tell her, what I'm getting from my guest this morning is that seek help. That's the long and short of this whole story. Seek help, seek appropriate help, seek counseling, speak to the right people and get the right help. Your mental state is very, very important. If you say you're going to leave, when you leave, you're still going to carry whatever that you had in there, all those worries, all those burdens, all those pains. You're going to carry it along with you, and then the pain will still continue. You wouldn't be healed. Make sure that you're properly healed first, okay? So speak to the right people. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Selassie Doku, thank you. Pastor McCann, thank you so much for your time. It was good seeing you again. Hope you come back soon. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to draw. Who will be our next lucky winner? It's time for us to count down. And so we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Who is our lucky winner? Who is our lucky winner? 1, One. All right, so our dear lucky winner, you just received a cool 500 Ghana cedis for drawing. All you had to do was to just dial *281#. That's all that you had to do. And so congratulations to you. Our lucky winner and our previous winner for this morning will call you tomorrow morning, God willing, and you share your excitement with us after winning these cool amounts of monies. My name is Esiedua Akomia. That's where we end Let's Talk Relationship on Prime Morning and today's edition of Prime Morning. My guests again for Let's Talk Relationship, Selassie Doku and Pastor Michael McCann. Ladies and gentlemen, reminding you again, tomorrow, 7 p.m. sharp, right here on Joy Prime, we have Big Chef Tertiary Edition Season 2, the official launch. We are unveiling all the contestants. And so if you've been excited, you've been anticipating, you've been waiting, the time is here. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. sharp. And then today being a Thursday, yes, BMPS is going to happen in the evening at 8:30 p.m. And so stay tuned, stay glued to your TV sets, because today's topic for discussion is going to be hot. The boys are going to come and sit together again and have a discussion on, let's see what happens.